You're listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. You can follow along in your book. You'll know it's time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this.
I wanted this to be professional, efficient, adult, cooperative, not a lot to ask. Alas, your Mr. Takagi did not see it that way, so he won't be joining us for the rest of his life. We can go any way you want us. You can walk out of here or be carried out. But have no illusions. We are in charge. So, decide now, each of you. And please remember, we have left nothing to chance. Get them back! Not by! Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
One bottle rockets for Rickman.
Is it Rickman or Reichman?
I don't know. I always just said Rickman.
I'm not done shooting bottle rockets.
Okay. Yeah, he deserves it. Shoot the glass.
This one's for Die Hard. This one's for Dogma.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood?
Yeah, wasn't he in Robin Hood?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I thought he was.
Welcome to the Awkward High Five podcast. My name is Devin.
And my name is Rich.
And we're shooting off bottle rockets for now. The latest celebrity death.
Yeah, another one.
But this one hit you pretty hard.
Yeah, real hard. I almost died hard.
so was this in comparison to the mayor of Ghostbusters?
This is bigger.
Much bigger.
Much bigger.
Hans. Losing Hans killed you, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hans is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so that people at home know, you text me. You haven't. Well, you've made suggestions for the opening movie clips.
Yeah.
But you text me and you're like, it was like, I don't know why you wake up so early, or either that or I wake up too late or something.
Oh, it was like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I roll out of bed around 11, and I already got a text from you, and it was like, Hans is dead. Use this clip for the beginning of the show.
And it was like a 30-minute montage of all Hans quotes.
Yeah, I clicked it, and there's like dance music in the background. And
I
shit.
couldn't help it.
It's like one of these stupid fucking things that people just make and throw up on YouTube by themselves.
But he has so many killer lines in that movie. It's so hard to choose. So hard. But we got a good one. It was a very good little soliloquy there.
Man, I tell you what, I've known you your whole life basically, and you've always been the biggest Die Hard fan. And I could, if I've seen that movie once all the way through,
it doesn't do it for you?
No, it's not that it doesn't do it for me. It's just one of those movies that I don't think about. I don't watch. I'm not one of those people like if it's on Channel 11, I'll like stay with it. I just never have.
Oh,
and
man.
even when I was downloading that clip to play in the beginning of the show, I was like, I don't even remember this scene.
Really?
Yeah, like that's how stupid I am with Die. I think I said this before in a podcast. Out of all the Die Hards, I think Die Hard 3 is the one I know the most. Well, I don't even know. I can't say it's my favorite. It's just the one that I know the most because I watched that one the most.
Yeah.
Which
Die
I know for
amazing.
Die Hard Die Hard fans, it's like sacrilege to even say that. And I totally admit that I'm in the wrong and I should probably watch it again. But
yeah, Die Hard's so good that I totally dismissed Part 2, and I'm like, oh, Part 2 sucked, whatever. But I have the trilogy box set, so I watched Part 2 recently, and it's pretty damn good.
Isn't Part 2 on a plane?
Yeah, it takes place at an airport.
Yeah, see, I definitely didn't even see Part 2.
Yeah, for some reason I never got into it, but it's a really good movie.
Yeah, maybe I should just have
Part 1 is just unbelievable.
Well, it's everyone's favorite fucking movie of all time. I mean, I get it.
Great.
I just don't think I've ever really seen the whole thing all the way
You
through.
got
And
Ellis sniffing coke and saying dumb shit. It's awesome.
Well, I know as soon as I saw that Alan Rickman died, I was like, "Oh, Richie's gonna be upset about Hans."
Yeah.
And but you know what's weird is I looked at it and also I'd like to say that I want to stop talking about dead celebrities on this show, but for some reason, the beginning of 2016, they're just dropping like mad fire.
And Rickman was the same age as Bowie. Cancer.
69.
Yeah, it's
69,
crazy.
dude.
69.
And but I saw it and I was like, oh man, that sucks. You know, he was a really good actor. I loved all the shit he was in. Then I went to IMDb and I realized that I never watched any of the shit that he was in.
He wasn't in much, I don't think.
He was, well, obviously he was in Die Hard, which I could say that I've seen, but I can't sit here and say that I'm a giant fan like you are.
Harry Potter.
Right. I've never seen any of the Harry Potters, so I didn't even know that he was, whatever his name is, one of the professors something. Yeah. Which I'm sure people at home right now are going, oh my, because people love that shit.
People are like using that as like his main claim to fame. It's like, do you not know?
Well, it wasn't, I doubt, I'm sure that it was. I mean, Die Hard's a huge movie, but that Harry Potter shit is gigantic.
I know.
There's a whole part of a theme park in Disney devoted to it. There's 8 of those movies.
But I'm saying, even though there's a lot of kids out there, in the world of Hollywood, I'm sure he is best known for Hans Gruber.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Has to be.
Do you know that role was his first movie role, Hans Gruber?
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, well, at least a major movie role or whatever. That I found out when I was kind of looking it up. But yeah, I looked through all his shit. There was Dogma. He was in Dogma, which you know is Kevin Smith's movie, so of course I watched it like that. But everything else, yeah, I couldn't
really name much else. He pops up here and there, and you're like, oh, Hans.
Yeah.
You know, his name is permanently Hans.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Oh, you know what he was in, which I watched just for a laugh, and it was horrible. Was that CBGB's movie they tried to put out a few years ago?
Oh, yeah, and he plays Hal-El, right?
Yeah, Hilly, yeah. He plays and he was really good in it, to the point where I don't think I put together that was him. I watched that whole movie. Granted, I watched it like hungover and again, like didn't care. I knew it was going to be really bad.
It was pretty bad. I kind of liked how they show how it started, but once they started focusing around the Dead Boys, it kind of fell apart.
Well, the Dead Boys were a huge part of CBGB.
I know, but
you know what? That movie was, number one, it wasn't historically accurate whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. Like people are saying that Straight Outta Compton wasn't historically accurate, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm dying to see it, but I just from being a fan of that era and studying everything and listening to all those bands and knowing the stories and have heard the stories a million times, what they did in that movie, CBGB's is what we're talking about, is they just took like all the shit that happened in like a 10-year span and kind of like condensed it into like a 6-month thing, and like things overlapped weirdly, like bands that never weren't around and shit
at the same time were playing on the same show, right? And things like that. Yeah, I guess that when you're doing a whole movie about a venue,
no, I can understand
how as much of its cool shit in there as possible.
The story itself, if you're just going to look at it as supposed to be a story about this kind of made up character, Hilly Crystal, who started a bar. And his like journey.
Why is he made up?
Because it's a lot of that shit isn't factual. You see what I'm saying?
But he didn't really own the bar?
No, he did. Oh. I'm just talking about the way that shit went in that movie.
Okay.
You know, like it was well overblown for Hollywood's sake.
All right.
You know what I mean? And so it was like
the true story of CBGB's is super boring. To where they had to soup it up and add some.
Yeah,
story.
well, it was just CBGB's was like a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit stretched over a bunch of time.
Yeah,
it wasn't like this like down on his luck dude in his 40s bought a bar and then it blew up. You know what I mean? Like, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And like the story with the daughter and all that shit. Like he did have a daughter, but it wasn't this like crazy thing where she, they made all these stories.
And made it huge,
right? But yeah, so that
it's like the Wolf of Wall Street of club venues,
I guess, right?
You know,
but yeah. So that whatever. I don't know how we got on CBGB from Alan Rickman. I guess because he was, but the thing is, that movie was horrible. But he was really good in it.
Yeah,
and also that came out a few years ago, so that dude had to be like 65, 66 years old when he's sitting there playing like a 40-year-old.
Yeah,
and maybe that's why I didn't even realize that it was him. So,
great actor, great villain, definitely. One of my first known villains as a child, and
I think
he's done it well.
I think he like defined the action hero villain. I think as far as I know, Die Hard is considered the first real deal blockbuster action film.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean there was I don't know the dates of stuff, but there was Lethal Weapon. That might have been a little bit earlier than that.
Right.
But Die Hard, just the action of Die Hard, one after another, combined with the one-liner jokes of Willis, are just unstoppable.
Right.
You know, and then Hans being the villain that he is, perfect.
Right.
The things he says, his crew. It's just it's a total perfect movie. Plus, Hans is just the perfect villain.
And you're not alone on this. There's millions of people that agree, and I don't disagree with you. I just don't know it well enough. And I'm admitting right now to everybody that listens to this podcast that is a flaw of mine. That I promise
everyone's gonna be like, Dev does not like Die Hard, and you're gonna get the hate emails.
In the year of working on my flaws, I promise. Maybe that'll be the end. That'll be the apex, the pinnacle.
Yeah.
I'll know that I'm self-realized and mindful and all of that as soon as I pop in Die Hard and watch it from beginning to end.
You're gonna love it. There's no way you're not gonna love it.
But you know what the weird thing about that movie is like, and I'm sure you have movies like this, and I'm sure people at home listening have movies like this, where you almost feel, even if you haven't seen it all the way through, or maybe you haven't even seen it at all, it's just so in the general consciousness, and you see it all over the place that you feel like you've seen it. You know what I mean? That happens to me a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't think of what you're saying.
Really?
That happens. Yeah.
You've never had a movie that you haven't seen, but you kind of like, well, I feel like I've seen it all because you know the story so well. You've seen like clips on different things. It's been parodied enough on television that you know all about it. You know what I mean? So it's like you might not have even seen the whole thing, but you kind of feel like you have anyway. So maybe that's why I don't like go out of my way to sit down and watch it, because I feel like there's
really no mystery behind it.
Well, because you quoting it for the last 30 years alone. I mean, I know shit from that movie just from you.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
No, I don't know. But anyway, R.I.P. Alan Rickman.
Alan.
You know, it's going, and I don't want to talk about the Facebook thing again, but again, this whole sociological experiment that is social media, and we talked about it a lot last episode when Bowie died, and it's the same thing now. Like everybody jumped on the Alan Rickman thing, and it was the same kind of deal. Like he was everybody's favorite actor all of a sudden. Oh my god, I can't believe he's
changed
gone.
The face of the villain,
right? and then, so now the trend has turned into like there's been a bunch of big deaths right off the bat in 2016. So you have Lemmy, you have Bowie, you have Alan Rickman, right?
Yeah.
And so now, like, that's become like the thing where people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe all my favorite stars are dying," right? Like I doubt that there was somebody there who's out there who was like painted like fucking Ziggy Stardust, listening to Lemmy, watching Die Hard. Like, I don't think that's ever happened.
No.
But these three people. You know, these people, like their three favorite people in the world died.
Yeah.
But now people are jumping, like people want to add to it. And this is a good example of what I've been trying to say about how people want to be the bearer of bad news. Yeah. It's like what they like to do. Is that I saw a couple different things pop up today where people, I wish I could remember one to give an exact example. But people were like, "Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I can't believe this guy died." And it was like an actor, right? And then you looked at it and you're like, wait, didn't this guy die already? And then you look underneath and people are like, he died in 2005 and shit. Like, people are like trying to dig up celebrity deaths to throw it on Facebook to be the first one to break the story.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who I think it was? I think it was fucking Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. Like, someone threw that up.
So
like,
people are just looking for people who died that weren't really that celebrated, just so they could be the first to celebrate.
Well, or they're seeing, or maybe somebody else put it up and they're seeing it for the first time, so they're just jumping, like they're immediately hitting share, like, oh my God, will the carnage ever end?
Gilligan
Bowie,
died.
Lemmy, Rickman, Gilligan. Dun, dun, dun.
Gilligan changed the face of primetime TV. Changed the face of the stowaway.
Man, I'll tell you what, though. That redheaded broad on that show changed the fucking
the movie
sexual
star?
feeling of fucking Dev Farrow.
Yeah, I always wanted Marianne more than the movie star.
You want them both.
Yeah.
It's like Jackie and Donna, if I'm going to use a 70s show analogy, because all I've been doing is watching that 70s show.
No, but that's a good...
It's the same thing, the hot brunette and the hot redhead. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But that was, as a young kid watching those shows, I think that was one of the first...
Yeah, because she was like a slut.
Yeah, she was fucking hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it wasn't the 60s, 70s, she would have been fucking all over that island. She would have been fucking the skipper behind the rock.
Well, they also would have just had her in bikinis and shit.
Oh, yeah, tits hanging out for sure. Ass bouncing.
Which actually is very funny well, that's not funny at all. But I have sleep shows. Let me explain this a little bit.
Sleep shows.
I call it a sleep show. I have a very active mind, and sometimes, most of the time, unless I'm like intoxicated, and even then, if I lay down to go to sleep at a normal time, let's say I'm like, call it quits at 2 a.m, I'm like, gotta go to bed. And I lay there, a lot of times I will just lay there and I will not go to sleep. My mind will be running, doing a different thing, right? I'm sure everybody experienced that. So I watch television to go to sleep. And sleep shows are shows that I know very well. I probably have seen a few times, or at least are familiar with all the characters and everything, and are mildly entertaining to the point where I'm not going to be up watching them being like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens next. So I just watch it till I fade off to sleep.
I get you.
And thanks to the wonderful invention that is Netflix, I've been burning through a lot of sleep shows.
Yeah. Finding out that most shows are sleep shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Cheers is a giant sleep show for me, but I love Cheers. It's probably my favorite show of all time, but it's now a sleep show because I know it so well that I can just rehearse
most
it.
Of them.
News Radio, another thing, one of my favorite shows of all time. I've seen it so many times that I could recite the words to every episode pretty much. So sleep show. I don't have to watch it. Seinfeld, sleep show. It goes on and like that. The 70s show, however, I didn't know that well. As a matter of fact, I'm in like season 6 right now, and I'm starting to realize that I'd never seen any of these episodes.
So it keeps you up late show?
Not really, because it really starts to suck after season 6.
Does it really? Yeah.
And what I was going to say is that what they did in season 6 that I realized was that they all of a sudden started making Donna and Jackie take off more of their clothes.
That's
right?
awesome.
So like if I'm not saying that, but you're just like, yeah, that's awesome.
It is.
But it's weird because they're still. Well, let's just take Mila Kunis for instance. She's still very young.
Yeah.
Like I think she started that. I started that show when she was
like
14.
Yeah, she lied.
So like
shit.
by season 6, she might be 18. You know, 19, whatever. And she still kind of has like a
little boy body.
A little boy body.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other funny thing is that Donna will never shows her midriff. I don't know why I know all this.
She probably has a lasagna belly.
It's because I'm watching them back to back, like, fucking marathon style, that I guess I'm noticing these little things. But like the first 6 episodes of season 6, they're just in scenes together and they just put them by the pool and make them get naked.
That's great.
And that there was some like corporate like bigwig that they're like, we're losing ratings on the show. Get the hot chicks naked as much as you can,
Exactly. I never got into that show because I can't stand that little Mexican kid.
Fez?
Yeah, I can't.
Wilmer Valderrama, whatever his name is.
He bothers me. He gets a punch in the throat.
I'll tell you one thing, and I told my brother this, and he gave me the biggest look, like the biggest fucking shut the fuck up, you're an asshole look was, I hate to say it, but from rewatching that 70s show, I'm a huge Kuchar fan.
Yeah.
I think he might be the best person on that show.
He's fucking annoying.
Yeah, but on that show, he's funny as fuck.
Is he?
I don't know.
I thought that's the first place I saw him. That's the first place I thought he was annoying.
Now, remember, this is my sleep show, and I'm half delirious.
Right. You know what I have? I don't have sleep shows, because if I fall asleep, oh, well, I'm sleeping. But if I need something to make me go
it shows to go to sleep, too.
Right. So I'm about to say, what I got is, the ID channel where they teach women how to kill your husband and bury him and not get caught?
I'm familiar with it,
yeah. So I put on that channel because it's pretty much always the same show, just in a different title. And it's the same. A guy narrates it and, thespians reenact things. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like a true crime thing.
Yeah, it's like an unsolved mystery. Yeah, it's just like a true crime
so
thing.
It's like they're just going back over crimes that have happened before and how they got caught
do that whole like narrating thing. But that's a sleep channel for me because the way the narrator speaks and like his voice
the cadence and just the way.
Yeah, it's soothing and puts me to bed and I can fall asleep. I don't have to pay attention to what he's saying. I just listen to the sounds of his voice and drift away.
So the content doesn't bother you. Watching murders and blood and all that.
It doesn't matter what he's saying. It's just I like the narration. It's soothing.
And then they chopped off her head and continued to rape her dead body, and you're just like.
Mm-hmm. The best one ever was this guy. He wanted to kill his wife. It's always someone wanting to kill their spouse for the insurance money. It's usually,
Yeah, that's fucked up, isn't it?
That's usually the cause of murder, his insurance money. So this guy, he convinced his wife that she was sick, which she wasn't, because he was killing her.
Was he feeding her glass?
So no, little by little, he was feeding her, antifreeze, telling her that Gatorade is the key to getting well from her sickness. So the antifreeze looked like green Gatorade, so he just kept on feeding her antifreeze little by little.
Rewind. He wasn't, because if you just drink straight up antifreeze, you will die. He was giving her like a little fucking dropper of antifreeze in each Gatorade.
Yes, and he kept on upping the dosage.
Let me write this down.
Slowly, she started just drifting away.
And she died. So when they got the toxicology report and they found out that she died from antifreeze poisoning, then wasn't all signs point to fucking Bob the Maniac?
I forget. For some reason, the toxicology didn't prove that he did it for some reason. The way he got caught was an email that the girl was sending to one of her friends saying that her husband took such good care of her. He's always giving her Gatorade. And they were like, and like Gatorade kept popping up all over the place. And they're like, what's up with this Gatorade? And they inspected like his old Gatorade bottles and like found antifreeze and shit went crazy. But like apparently antifreeze is tasteless and odorless and you could just slip it in green Gatorade and just off somebody with a green Gatorade.
I bet you Gatorade watched that episode and they're like, God damn it. Please be Powerade. Please be Powerade.
Lemon lime discontinued.
So mass murder puts you to sleep, basically.
Yeah.
If you have an insurance policy, then yeah, you're gonna get murdered, or like it's crazy. Like buildings burn down, people get murdered, all for fucking
Italian lightning.
Yeah. Oh, that's not called Italian lightning, my friend.
What kind of lightning is it called?
Let's take a thought for a second and think of what kind of lightning that might be called.
Oh, all right. I always called it Italian because that's what they would really do.
Now, look, don't get me wrong. Italians and this other kind of lightning, they're pretty close.
Hey, not that close.
They all look the same. Look, if Robert De Niro came out and said that his name was Robert fucking
Steinberg
Goldschmidt, everyone would be like, okay,
yeah, sure, I guess. But it's not usually, it's like if it's usually my wife would go take out $1 million life insurance policy on me without me knowing and then slowly start slipping me Gatorade. Like, it's not like they have these grandiose life insurance policies. These people will like get them and then kill their spouse a week later. And then people will be like, oh, no shit,
How can you go from I love you, we're going to get married? Like, how does somebody go from the day where they're staring into each other's eyes with their family all around and it's in the greatest day of their life into years later when one of them is trying to actually end the life of the other one?
Kill them with Gatorade.
That's fucking
for money.
Nuts.
People are crazy. People are fucking nuts.
And that's what they say, man. They it's the old thing of if the first person you look to is the boyfriend or the girlfriend, the husband or the wife. As soon as somebody's murdered, that's the first person they go to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that has to be for a reason because through all these years of humanity, husbands and wives have just been fucking killing each other.
That is sick.
Put another one in the notch of wins for marriage.
Right?
I'm really,
Man, yeah.
I could be dead right now, Richard.
Seriously.
I think one of the reasons I'm
with
still alive.
An empty Gatorade bottle next to you?
That kind of scheme would never. If I was to have gotten murdered, it would have been like just a straight up stabbing.
Nah, no poison in the food.
Women, maybe it's the type of women that I date, but women have a fucking thing of like wanting to stab me a lot. I don't know.
Stabbings? Like shankings?
Yeah, I guess.
Or like crimes of passion where they want to like stab you in the face.
Maybe a little bit of both. I just picture myself getting stabbed in my sleep by a woman.
Heavy stabs.
Yeah, no, my ex wouldn't have come up with a good she would have just like pushed me off of fucking a roof or something like that.
Oh man, if I was gonna get stabbed, I would want to be one of those people that get stabbed and like you don't know it. You'll just be like doing something, like an incident happens, and you're like, oh okay, I walked out of that unscathed, and then you're like online at the bank, and then you touch your shirt and you see blood, and
it's
you're like,
away,
and you don't even feel the pain until you see the blood, and you're like, what the fuck? And you look down, and you're stabbed, and you're like, oh my God. And then you start to get queasy and shit. You're like, I was shanked. And you think back to hours before that when the stabbing actually occurred. And you're like,
this freaks me out. How? I think you would know if you got stabbed.
But some people don't. And then they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, but it doesn't go on for like an hour. Like I think it's one of those things where like it might not hurt initially, but within a few minutes, once air hits the raw wound, you're going to start fucking feeling it.
You feel the burn.
Either that or when you look down and you have red shoes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's when you feel the pain, when you see the blood. And then you're like, oh, no. I don't know.
Stabbing might be the number one way that I do not want to die.
Right.
I'm cool with most ways.
I'm not cool with drowning. No way.
Well, people say drowning's really peaceful.
It's supposed to be euphoric, but I don't want to go through that struggle of trying to breathe and not being able to. That's some heavy shit, bro.
Yeah, right. I get it, but from what they say, whoever they are, the death professionals say that they say
the people that have died and
they say that any sort of asphyxiation is a very peaceful way to die.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is that.
Supposed to get a rush.
I'm sure there is that first couple seconds of like, holy shit, I can't breathe. But once your brain gets cut off from air, then you're not thinking of that anyway. So you're not traveling with it to the point where you're out. You're probably out way before you're actually out.
But still, I would think about diving into like an ocean, and then when you're coming back to the surface, the top being sealed.
Like in fucking
Legend.
Yeah,
that shit's fucked up.
Well, claustrophobia is a completely different thing.
But claustrophobia in water?
Yeah, no, I get it.
That's fucked.
That's why that scene fucked me up, is because the claustrophobic aspect of it.
I can't breathe just watching it. My fingertips go numb.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to drown.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I do want to drown.
No, I don't want to drown.
Oh, okay.
I had a family member that died by drowning.
I know.
And it was pretty tragic. He was young. He was 17 years old, and it was a shitty
sucked.
thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's what made me do a lot of research on it, because I wasn't too young. I think I was like 15 when he died.
You were definitely a teenager, for sure.
But I think it freaked me out so much that was like the first like accidental death that I ever dealt with, right? So like, you're younger, and like you might have relatives that like died of like heart attacks or cancer, or older people died or whatever. Or even if you're like 10 and your uncle, like right now, if we knew somebody in their 40s that died, you would be like, holy shit, they're only in their 40s. But when you're 10 and somebody in their 40s dies, you're like,
they lived a good life.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, I wish I could make it to 40.
Yeah.
So like I had a couple of those, but my cousin was 17. Me and him were close. And he ended up drowning, and I remember that really like was the first like, holy shit, this could happen to children,
And weren't you there?
No, I wasn't.
I thought you guys were there. I thought you were all you guys were.
No, that would be a completely different situation.
Damn.
But it was tragic enough that I remember, I think I actually went and like researched like a morbid little fuck, like what it feels like to drown, because I wanted to
you wanted to know.
I wanted to get that image out of my mind of like, oh, hopefully it didn't suffer or whatever. But we shouldn't have got on all this.
I hear you.
Back to stabbing, what I wanted to say though.
Crimes of passion.
Is the reason I don't want to get stabbed, and I never really thought about it before, because I always just figured stabbing and shooting, same fucking thing, right?
No way.
But like, well, let's just say like if you get stabbed in the heart, right? So like,
ouch.
Yeah, but stabbed in the heart, shot in the heart, nah, who's to blame? But
I'd rather take a bullet.
Yeah, right, okay. But I'm just saying what I thought until I saw Saving Private Ryan.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
The slow stab.
When the fucking when Adam Goldberg fucking gets it slowly.
Abe Lincoln Dream.
What's that?
The kid that has the Abe Lincoln Dream?
Yeah, from Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
What are you, Isaac fucking Newton? Why don't you observe why I punch your teeth on your fucking
throat?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he fucking
catches the slow knife.
And how that might be the best thing that Steven Spielberg's ever done, including controlling that shark and all that shit, is how they fucking made that stabbing be so slow and look like and like he's in
best kill in movie history.
He's in such shock that he's getting stabbed, and it's also, if you watch the movie, it's the guy that they let go out of mercy earlier comes back to kill him, right? So there's that whole aspect, but even besides that,
and they don't play any corny background music. It's just all sounds of death.
Yeah. And he's just sitting there staring at him like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. But then you just, and you even just hear the knife like, oh, dude.
And they're like looking into each other's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fucked up. That stabbing fucked me up. And you know what else fucked me up? You ever see Smoking Aces with Pivens?
Smoking Aces. Yeah, that's the one with Christopher Walken and Jay Moore.
No.
Smoking Aces?
Jeremy Pivens is some Vegas entertainer gone wannabe wise guy, and he's ran on people. They're out to get him. So there's like all these different groups of people that want to whack him because there's $1 million bounty on his head. So there's all these different people after him. So it's like the story of him getting,
okay.
All these
I don't think I've ever seen this one.
Well, there's this part where this guy tricks the security guard, and he has this like blade underneath his sleeve, and it shoots out and stabs him. And the guy, he doesn't know he got stabbed.
Really?
He's like, what's happening? And he's like, I just stabbed you in the lungs. He's like telling him, he's like, pretty soon your lungs are going to fill up with blood. You'll asphyxiate and you'll die. And the guy's like, I don't want to die. Where's this blood coming from? Who are you? And he didn't know what was going on. And the guy was just like, shh, close your eyes, go to sleep. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so fucked up. That fucked me up.
You know what? Now that you're bringing this up, man, I think I've wiped this out of my memory.
It's back.
Have you ever seen the movie Drive with
Yes.
And so do you know the scene with Albert Brooks and Bryan Cranston?
Who's Albert Brooks?
Albert Brooks is the bad guy.
Okay.
And Bryan Cranston is Breaking Bad guy.
Yeah.
Remember how he was like the mentor or whatever?
Yeah.
And he shows up at the garage and he just takes out that little razor and just slits his fucking thing. And he says this, he does the same thing. He's like, shh, now it's over. He's like, there's not gonna be any pain. And he just looks at him and he like falls back. That shit freaked me the fuck out.
Right? Like death is coming.
And there's
death.
There's a scene in that film where Albert Brooks like literally stabs a guy in the eyes and in the neck, and it's like real brutal and shit.
Brutal.
That didn't bother me at all. Just that slow, like little
slow shit,
and
being
absolutely. Like, here you go, just sit back. Now you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Blah.
That's real creepy shit.
Go back to modern romance, Albert Brooks. Stop making freaky movies. Albert Brooks, all of a sudden, he was like the funniest dude in the world.
I liked how Drive is creepy.
No, I'm just talking about Albert Brooks because you know he was a comedian. He his whole life, and then all of a sudden, the last like 5 years, he's played like older weird guys in movies, and it's freaking me out. And it's not like a Bill Murray older weird
comedy
guy.
Back to tragedy.
I guess so. Do you know, little trivia fact for you, my friend, and for the listening audience?
I like trivia.
Do you know who Albert Brooks's brother is?
Mel Brooks?
No, you would think, but he's not.
One of the Brooks brothers.
Nope.
Is it a Brooks?
No.
Oh, okay. Can I have a hint?
This is what's interesting about it.
All right.
I could give you a hint. He played a stuntman for a very long time of his life.
In movies?
I think he might have had a movie, but it was more skits and stuff like that.
Skits, okay. Just tell me.
Also, he's in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Bob Einstein, also known as Super Dave Osborne.
Oh, shit.
But here's the funny thing about it. This is why it's such a good trivia fact, my friend.
Right.
Is that Albert Brooks was born Albert Einstein.
Oh, shit.
He changed his name to Albert Brooks because he's like, I can't be in show business with this name. And his brother, Bob Einstein, whatever.
Yeah.
There you go. So for anybody who, like people anywhere under 30 probably doesn't even know who Albert Brooks are. He's even old for our fucking crew. But I love him. Modern romance, all that shit. I love that shit. So I don't know.
Yeah, but slow stabbings, man. Brutal.
Yeah.
There's worse ways to die, for sure, than stabbing. But stabbing, you don't die right away unless you get your jugular cut. But if you get like stabbed in the gut, you're alive for probably, I'm going to say 8 fucking hours.
Well, what about getting shot in the gut? It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
It's fucking still. Like in Reservoir Dogs. You're going to be okay.
Seriously.
That fucking shit freaked me out too. I was like, I didn't want to get shot in the gut.
Yeah.
Movies have taught me a lot of ways that I do not want to die.
Yeah, true. But that's the one thing about the movies, that people get shot in the gut and die, but you don't die till tomorrow.
Well, you know what another crazy thing about fucking movies have you ever gotten punched in the fucking face? Like, that's getting punched in the face is not a light thing that happens. Like, it's if you get punched square in the face, it fucks you up and it fucking hurts. But in movies all the time, they're just like easily knocking people out for fun by punching them in the face, or like the whole thing of like if you take a fucking lamp or like a crowbar and hit somebody on the back of the head, you'll probably kill them. But in movies, that's how they just knock people out for a little bit and then they get up and they're just disoriented. What happened for the last half hour? It's like, no, motherfucker, you will destroy somebody's skull if you do that.
That's why, the old people like to blame the movies for kids being violent, because they think kids see that shit and they're like, oh, I could whack my baby brother over the head with a fucking crowbar, and they kill their sibling or some shit.
Yeah, and I'm sure that does happen that way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't show it, but I'm saying I'm sure there's some stupid ass fucking kids out there that like tried to hurt their little baby brother by hitting him with a fucking anvil or something.
Yeah.
He's just making a pulley with an anvil.
Yeah. Move the big rock with a little stick off the fucking couch.
Like fucking rocket skates and fucking...
Yeah, the rocket skates.
Where are these kids coming up with all these Acme products?
I really thought there was like an Acme that fucking made those things. And then when the store Acme...
I was going to say, when you saw the supermarket where you're like...
I thought that was like the one they always refer. I thought that was a Universal store that never made it to the East Coast.
That's fucking weird. Do you think that the store Acme like became because of that, or is it total? Because
I always thought there was the Acme first.
I just never, for some reason, even thought of the fact that those two things exist in the same kind of, like
they do.
Like out of all the supermarket names in the world, you're going to choose the name of the fake fucking bomb
but
factory.
But that's what I'm
from
saying.
Looney Tunes?
Maybe Acme was around and we just didn't get them here yet, and we just started getting them. Like, if we started getting like Jack in the Box.
They're Acme products, so like Acme doesn't make anything, I don't think, they just house fucking bananas and soup.
Yeah.
But,
it's not like a Costco.
I don't know. All I know is that somebody ripped somebody off.
Yeah.
And I doubt it was the Looney Tunes crew ripping off a supermarket.
Yeah.
But of course, there's going to be somebody out there with this knowledge that is going to email me and be like, well, actually, Acme started in 1929 with
all the animators come out of the woodwork.
How awesome would that be if you walked into an Acme and they were just like an anvil aisle, one of those black smoking round bomb aisles, fucking rocket skate aisle, guillotine aisle.
What else did they have?
I don't know.
Big rock on a stick.
You're
bank. No, not a bank. A safe.
The whole time you're doing this, you're just picturing the Roadrunner, right?
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
I can't stop picturing not the Roadrunner, but Wile E. Coyote trying to fucking push the big rock off the cliff with a little stick.
Oh, there's probably an aisle with a painting that looks like a tunnel, but it's just
yeah. True.
Yeah. Well, look.
There's probably an aisle with a door that leads to another door that leads to a fucking like vault door that leads to a brick wall.
You know what the best thing about cartoons was? The old cartoons that were actually not computer animated was that you would always know what door was going to open because it was a different,
a shinier color.
Yeah, it was like a lighter color than the rest of the shit. And you'd be watching it, you're like, well, someone's going to come out of that door.
Anything that was about to move would always be like a shade lighter.
Yeah, it was lighter. Yeah. Or when they were running, and I'm sure all this is old. We're not coming up with anything new. I'm sure this has been fucking discussed at the end of time. But when they're running and it's just the same thing, like they'll pass when Tom and Jerry are running, they'll pass the mouse hole like 7 times. In the same
that's
thing.
why the old joke is it's a man on a bike and the bike is staying still and the whole background is just rotating. And he's working the background by riding the bike.
Man, those old Looney Tunes fucking shit. You sent me, I think it's our favorite, both of our favorites, Looney Tunes of all time is the Al Jolson.
Oh, yeah.
And I still watch that. It's on YouTube. I think I have it saved in my browser. I'll watch it like every couple months.
Oh, man, when I sent you that was the first time me seeing it since I was a child.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I watch it all the time.
Yeah, it's fucking. I saw it and it,
As a matter of fact,
brought me back.
My computer network that we're using right now to record this show is named Al Jolson, right?
Really?
And I had to. I'm training for this new job that I was training on an inventory system for this new job that I'm doing. That's all online, right? And I had to call them, and they had to go into my computer like to do one of those things, like to show me or whatever. And the guy just starts dying laughing, and he was like, he was like from the South. He's like, I just gotta tell y'all, that's the weirdest name for a computer I ever heard in my life. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I realized that he looked at my computer and saw Al Jolson.
Yeah, he knew about it.
I don't know if he knew about it.
You don't think so?
No, because it just, I guess most people just write like Devin's computer. And for some reason mine was Al Jolson. Because I want to sing about the moon and the June and the springer. He wants to sing about the moon and the June and the springer.
Yeah, that one. And, of course, the one where the fleas set up the flea circus on the dog's back.
Oh, food around the corner.
Yeah.
Food
but
around
is that
the corner.
Food around the corner?
Yeah.
I thought Food Around the Corner was just a flea that was like leaving his family and went hitchhiking and took off across the dog's back to the other side of the dog. Or something.
I didn't know that there was more fleas on a dog's back. I just thought it was Food Around the Corner.
No, there was food, but I think Food Around the Corner and the one where the flea circus is like the fleas that are like, hey, come on, yeah, and they really don't have voice. They're just that. Yeah. I think that's a different flea family because Food Around the Corner,
fleas,
he could speak.
Are those somebody we know as Freckles?
Oh, that's both. It traveled.
When When me and Richard were younger, if somebody had a massive amount of freckles, we would give them voices for some reason.
Yeah, the freckles would have voices,
And,
like little fleas.
And most of the time it'd be that. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah, they would be that voice. Hey, come on, we're freckles. Hey, come on, guy. If there was one freckle, it would invite all the others up on their shoulder, like, come on.
It would come up with a fucking trumpet. And it'd all come over.
On, guys. Like
no more meatless Tuesdays. No more meatless
like
Tuesdays.
the Gremlins coming over the top of that street, like the one Gremlin runs up and invites the others.
And then the camera pans over and there's just 1,000 of them. Like,
Gizmo, gaga. The best reference ever is when we started calling groups of chicks Gremlins. Because if you get a group of 4 or 5 or more girls and they're all laughing in a bunch together, they're just gremlins. They're just fucking gremlins.
Yeah.
That thing's hitting really good, by the way.
That and
nice cloudy smoke.
That and you can't. Thanks for breaking down that fourth wall.
Yeah. We're playing the flute.
My favorite scene in movie history is when those gremlins eat that chicken.
That's what makes me want to eat chicken more than anything.
Ew, that makes you want to eat chicken?
Yes,
that
nice
makes me
slimy fried chicken.
That all right? They call that fried chicken. That is not even baked chicken.
Yeah, I know.
It's the slime.
You know what it is? It's that frozen fried chicken you get in a box and you reheat it up in the oven and eat. It's not real fried chicken.
But you have a major motion picture. You'd think that like they could have went out and got a bucket of KFC. I'm sure KFC would have been like, yes, put us in your monster movie. You know what I mean? Like they got this crazy, and I know that what the puppets were probably eating couldn't have been real chicken.
Real chicken,
you know. But like you could have made it look a little bit better than this just slimy, gross.
Yeah, you know what
mess.
makes it super gross is the Mogwai's mouths. How they're like just these clammy little things that are like slap, 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 and it all like the spit is sticking to each side of the clam, and it's all like slimy and shit. That's what makes it gross. Like what are those things? Their mouths? They're like little fucking clams with spit in it. It's disgusting.
Well,
what the fuck are we talking about?
I don't know.
That's what happens when we smoke.
Somewhere, somebody who designed the Mogwai is really pissed right now that you call their mouth a clam. It's no clam mouth. Yeah, we were going to talk about stuff today. And
I forgot what we were going to talk about.
Now we're 40 minutes in, and we've just been talking about cartoons all the time.
Yeah, because when you were talking about CBGBs, I started thinking about clubs, and I was like, man, I started thinking about different concerts that we've been to and everything. And I started thinking to myself, I got kicked out of a lot of concerts.
You did. Time. You were the type of person who gets kicked out of places very frequently.
And for doing things that everybody else is doing. For some reason, the bouncer grabs my ass and fucking throws my...
Maybe.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But, I was talking the other night to somebody about how I lost my favorite camo hat that Larkin gave me straight from the Army. And it had, like, band's buttons on it and everything. And we went to see Lagwagon.
Oh, yeah.
At, where was it, BB King's?
It was in a city, I think it was BB King's.
Yeah, one of those joints. And I'm in the center of the dance floor, and some motherfucker thinks it's funny to grab my favorite hat and throw it on stage at Lagwagon. So, of course, Big Bitch, the 6'7" guitar player, Lagwagon, puts it on his giant ass head.
Right. Okay. So, real quick, you're barreling through this.
Paint the picture.
But I just want people at home who don't maybe, number one, Lagwagon's a band. Number two, they have a giant as their guitar player. I mean,
huge.
He's probably 6'6", 6'7".
6'7", for
giant
sure.
Dude. Yeah.
They call him Big Bitch.
Now let's say he's 6'7", and you are what?
5'5".
You're 5'5". So now they're playing to a packed house. Everyone's going nuts. They're playing their songs. He's rocking your hat on stage.
That big bitch.
Okay.
So I said to myself, I'm not letting this fly. I'm getting that hat back. No way is he keeping that hat. So anyone that crowd surfs know that if you crowd surf to the front of the stage, you'll get off the crowd into a safe area between the fence for the crowd and the stage, and the bouncers will politely walk you back to the crowd.
I would also like to say anybody who crowd surfs should know that you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And I'm going to steal your sneaker and throw it on the other side of the fucking place.
And just stop
like
it.
Someone did to my hat.
I don't even know if they still do that, but if you're at a show and you think it's a good idea to crowd surf, just take a second and think about your life. Go ahead.
So I crowd surf to the front. And I'm walking.
Wait, I know this. And then there was 3 hookers there and they let you on fire.
I wish. No, it was 2 hookers let me on fire.
Oh, sorry.
So I crowd surf to the front, and voluntarily this time. And as the bouncers were walking me back to the crowd, I busted a quick left and ran up on stage to go get my hat. So I just went up to the lead singer, Joey Cape. I told him he was awesome. And I ran over to
Oh, you took a little detour? Like, hey, man, you're awesome.
I had to run past Joey Cape. He looked at me like, what the fuck? I was just like, you're the man. And then I jumped up because of that tall motherfucker. I literally had to jump.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Grab my hat off of his head.
You had to get what is referred to as ups.
Yeah.
Because like that was like you dunking, pretty much.
I pumped up my Reeboks. And I fucking jumped up to Big Bitch's head and grabbed my hat off his head. He was laughing. And then I turn around and I get fucking speared by a bouncer, like Goldberg style. He was waiting for me to turn around. So as soon as I turned around, I got hit so hard. My legs went up in the air for sure. And so, of course, I didn't get to keep my hat. First thing he does is rips it off my head and gives it back to Big Bitch. So I lost the fucking hat anyway. And then I get the shoe. So I'm sitting out in the fucking cold-ass streets of New York. And the kid up front's like, what'd you get kicked out? I was like, yeah. He's like, that sucks because we're having Cannabis Cup here after the show. I was like, no, you're not. He's like, yeah, we sure are. I was like, well, I got this killer fucking bud that if you smoked it, man, fucking this shit walks on the walls and glows in the dark. I promise you. And he's like, all right, go back in. You're back in the show. I was like, sweet. And I jumped back in the show and I didn't have any weed. But I got back in. I only missed like one song.
Now let me tell you the perspective I had at that show because I'm not at a certain point in time. I don't think I ever really was, but at a very certain time and earlier than most of the people that we would go to shows with, I kind of backed out of the dancing thing. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't want to be in the pit, as they say, or any of that shit.
The only thing about the pit is that you get to see the stage really well.
Totally get it. I'm more of the back of the bar, kind of guy.
Back of the club.
Yeah, like I get myself a drink and I'll chill out and watch the show from there and be happy with that. So I was doing that at that show, and I knew your favorite hat, and all of a sudden I saw the Big Bitch from Lagwagon wearing the hat. And said to the person next to me that I was hanging out with, I was like, holy shit, that's fucking Richie's hat. That's fucking hilarious. And then as soon as I said that, I saw this little fucking thing run across stage and I saw the hat. I like watched it because I was focusing on the fact that it was your hat. I saw it get ripped off of his head and then you get speared.
And I got fucking speared.
And it was very, very fucking funny.
Yeah. And then it was funny because I was thinking that story and then I was like, holy shit, I got kicked out of the Stone Pony too. And that was for something so minor. Like anyone that's been to the Pony knows that everybody hangs from the water pipes that are above the pit. It's been done for years.
Yeah, it's got an old hat there.
Yeah, I doubt totally. It's like the women be shopping of mosh pits.
Yeah, so if mosh pits were Sinbad, this is the women be shopping there. White women, they always be shopping.
Women be shopping. So it's the women be shopping of mosh pits. So I thought it was totally okay. Like, I'm sure someone did it right before me. So I started hanging from the water pipes, did like a little fucking triple gainer coming off of them.
A triple Lindsay?
Yeah. Right into the bouncer's arms. And he just carried me out of the show.
Like a little baby?
Yeah, pretty much. So luckily.
You're like, tell me a story of murdering someone's wife so I could go to sleep.
Yeah. Tell me the story of this huge tribal tattoo you have. You dummy. So he kicks me out, but there was like a 30-foot fence in the back that I just scaled and hopped over, and I ran right back in.
Oh, so the recurring theme here is that you always get back in somehow.
I get back in,
You are very resourceful when it comes to that, and I give you props for that.
Thank you.
If we were in the 90s and I was black, I would give you props for that.
Thank you. Mad hella props?
Mad hella props, nice. Because I... am not that type of person. I'm not that resourceful. Like if I got kicked out of I've been kicked out of very few places.
Kick rocks.
But yeah, if I get kicked out, I'd be like, yeah, right. I'd probably just go find a bar to drink at until everybody got out and be like, how's the show, guys? But yeah, you always find a fucking way back in. Do you remember getting kicked out? Okay, here's my one kicked out story. It wasn't a show. It was just a bar, but it was on purpose.
Okay.
So Halloween, this year, Halloween fell on a weekend.
It was this year?
No, I'm just doing the Ghetto Boys. We our friend, a close friend of ours, his birthday is November 1st, and we were hanging out. This was a long time ago. I think we might have been 27, 28 or so around that time, and we were hanging out with our friend at his house, and we asked him what he wanted to do for his birthday, and he said he didn't care. The only thing he wanted to do was to get kicked out of a bar.
I don't even know.
You weren't there for this?
I know whose birthday it is, but I don't know who you're talking about.
So anyway, you were certainly there for this.
I don't think so, but keep going.
Okay, so we go to a local haunt, a place where people hang. Pretty popular bar, always packed on the weekends. And we're
local to us.
Local to us,
okay.
And we're trying to very local to where we are, and we're trying to figure out a way to get kicked out. Now, this is Halloween, by the way. Everyone's dressed up in costumes. We're the only ones that aren't. Everybody else is dressed up. The owner of the establishment is dressed up like fucking what's his name from Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp. Yeah, his character. Like, you know, so and we're in the corner and we're trying to figure out how to get kicked out of this bar. And so our one friend goes to the bar, and I believe there were 6 of us, and he comes back with 12 beers. And this is probably the most like dude bro fucking frat boy thing that I've ever done.
This bar you're talking about, it's doesn't exist anymore, right?
No, it still exists. Who cares what the bar was?
Okay, because I'm trying to remember what time it was.
No, so he fucking I told you we were like 27, 28 years
Yeah,
old.
I know, but I'm trying to think of the exact the story you're about to tell.
Oh, so our friend comes back with double the amount of beer. So we're like, okay, I guess we're double fisting. And he says, nah, 1 to drink, 1 to spray. Right? Do you remember this now?
No.
So he starts shaking up his beer. You know, we're doing like the thumb, like we just won the World Series thing. And so we're all like, yeah, all right, fuck it. So we just start fucking spraying the beer all over the place.
What a bunch of D-bags.
Now listen, this is all because our friend's one birthday wishes you want to get out of the bar.
Yeah.
And the 6 of us, or the 5 of us, I guess, because you weren't, I thought you were there.
I wasn't there.
The 5 of us together didn't have enough thought to come up with something creative. So our lizard brain just said, let's spray beer all over the place.
Let's be the biggest degenerates possible.
Now here's what happened though. We didn't get kicked out. As a matter of fact, nobody even like paid attention. Like
privilege.
We're in a corner and we're just like spraying beer all over the place, all over the walls, all over the floor and shit. And nobody was paying attention to us. So
white privilege.
So then our friend goes back to the bar and gets more beers, and we started doing it again. And the best part about it, we eventually did end up getting kicked out. But the best part about it was
for that or for something else.
No, for that. We just sprayed until we got kicked out. It was his
wasting mad beers.
But no, you were there because you kept going back saying that you wanted to eat your chicken sandwich.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, you ordered a chicken sandwich and they hadn't brought out the chicken sandwich yet. And while they're kicking us out, you don't remember this at all.
No.
While they were kicking us out, you're going, no, I gotta eat my chicken sandwich. I gotta eat my chicken sandwich. So the guy, who's a very nice guy, and
who the owner of the bar?
Yeah, and he kind of knew us.
Why can't we say the name of the bar?
It was McDonough's in Keyboard.
Oh, okay. I don't remember this at all.
And so he comes over and like everybody had sprayed, but our one friend, he was spraying. He was doing some spraying, but he might have been the most reserved of the spraying, right? And so you're trying to get your chicken sandwich. He's now walking me. He's got like all of us kind of like you would like in his arms. Like he's just going, come on, boys. Like he's being nice. We're not getting tossed out, right? And he's just being really nice. To the matter of fact, while he's walking me out, he's saying like, listen, man, I know you guys are just fucking around. I'm not kicking you out forever, but it's a big night for me. It's Halloween. You just can't be here tonight. You understand, right? And I'm like going like, yeah, this is great. This is a nice kick out or whatever. And then he turns around to the one dude in our crew that really wasn't doing much, and he goes, but you are never allowed back here again. And the dude was just like, what? Like the look on his face was like, what? Out of all these scumbags, I'm the one that's not allowed back here. And meanwhile,
that's
you're trying
awesome.
Meanwhile, you're eating your chicken sandwich. You don't even remember that night?
Not a lick of it.
I thought this was before you went down your rabbit hole, but maybe it wasn't.
But that could be a total liquor blackout. We were probably doing some heavy drinking.
We were at Tevis's house, so we were definitely drinking booze.
Boozing heavy.
But I remember the whole thing, and it was fucking funny as shit.
I have blackouts sometimes.
Really, Rich?
Yeah, I get mauled by a huge grizzly bear.
And also, what's that from?
Why do I want to say not David Cross? Fred Willard?
Oh, maybe it's okay. I don't know.
Fred
Whatever.
Willard?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, so that was my one kicked out. I also got kicked out of another bar once.
That's a good one. I wish I remembered something of that. I thought you were going to talk about the one time that Timmy laid in the salad bar at the office. Do you remember that? We wanted him to go into the fish tank.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But instead, he just laid in the salad
So this
bar.
was one of these like chain restaurant places, but in this small podunk fucking town that we come from, that was like a hot spot to hang out
doesn't even
at.
exist anymore.
And before that, it was a ground round. If you remember that.
Oh God, I love ground round.
You get free popcorn if you're
Yeah.
a kid. And so anyway, yeah,
Good ribs.
we were boozing there one night, and you had to walk to the restaurant to go to the bathroom. It's like any of these stupid fucking places, like Chili's or whatever.
Any place that has stupid shit on the walls.
Yeah, shenanigans and fucking and our friend laid in the salad bar.
Yeah,
it was
he
very
just
funny.
laid in the salad. We wanted him to go into the fish tank, which would have been hilarious, but we settled for the salad bar, and so he swam in the salad bar.
Yeah, I think that's about it for getting kicked. Have you gotten kicked out of other places? I know you've had a bunch of hard times getting into places.
Yeah, I think I have another boot, but it wasn't really considered a kick out because me and my boy we ended up hanging out with Strike Anywhere, and we scored a bunch of these free drink tickets from this girl because we were hanging out with these two girls. So we gave them all to Strike Anywhere, and we were boozing with Strike Anywhere all night. Then they get on stage, and I'm annihilated. And me and my
so
one
this
friend,
is before they went on.
Yeah, we were hanging out boozing, getting wasted. Then they play.
You know what? I don't take Strike Anywhere as like they're like such militant dudes. I didn't consider them to be partiers.
They're not real. They're not heavy partiers, but we were drinking beers. I was heavy partying.
Really?
Yeah. So they get on stage, and me and my other friend pretty much just hang out on stage with them while they're playing their set, and like telling them what songs to play, and like we're singing every song with them, like in their like with our arms around them and shit. It was hilarious. So he said that I'm wasted, all product out of my hair, just sweating heavy, and everyone that tries to jump up on stage with us, I'm just immediately pushing them right off the stage, like protecting my boys. So I'm doing
So
that.
you
all
became
night.
a douchebag
Yeah,
bouncer?
so I was like, so I can hang up on stage and Strike Anywhere and sing with them. But on the way out, apparently, I don't remember this. I must have blacked out while this was happening. Because on the way out,
have you ever drank without blacking out?
yeah, all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
I know the answer to that question. I was asking for the audience just so they know.
yeah, no, it happens. Just like it happens to anyone else. It's just there's a lot of times where I try and get as fucked up as possible. But
Really?
yeah. So what happened was I ended up when I went outside, I ended up like peeing like not even anywhere like secluded. I think I
That's
peed,
also
like,
a surprise.
right on the front porch.
We've well documented on this podcast your pissing activities.
Yeah, the dude was like, you gotta go. And me and my boy were like, nah, we're hanging out with the band. It's all good. He's like, at least get a cup of hot water. So he made me go inside, get a cup of hot water, and just throw it on my piss. Like that was all good.
Well, at least you don't have to smell fucking piss. Was it in the summer?
It was like November.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
You didn't smell the piss.
I was going to say hot piss in the summer.
No, it wasn't.
It smells like Manhattan. Have you ever smelled Manhattan before? That's hot piss in the summer.
It wasn't hot piss like that because it was a beer in and a beer out. So it was probably still cold, the piss. It was like a frothy Miller Lite. But yeah, so that's not really getting kicked out of a place, but that's a place where, the establishment weren't too pleased with my antics.
And this was at the Asbury Lanes?
No, this was at the J Hook in downtown Brooklyn, NY.
Oh, shit. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, we walked through a real sketchy area to get there.
Yeah, now that area is probably fucking multi-million-dollar.
Right? Yeah, it was.
Apartments and
it
shit.
It was close to Williamsburg.
Right.
Yeah. J Hook, Brooklyn. Was that Red Hook? Williamsburg and Red Hook. I think.
Who gives a fuck?
Exactly. But yeah, that was a goodie. That was a goodie. Do you remember when I got booted out of Jeremy Corpus's hotel party in Asbury Park?
No, I don't believe I remember that. Thanks for using full names on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh well, it was 2006. His band had a party.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
I was talking to you. I forgot we did a radio show.
You forgot these mics were in front of your
face. Exactly.
face.
I was just talking to you. But yeah, his band rented out like a whole floor of the Berkeley Astoria in Asbury Park.
I do remember this.
They played the Pony, and we had like an all-floor hotel party. It was like off the hook. It's like a crazy band party. You know what I mean? Like booze, chicks, just like everything happening.
I think people can imagine what a band party might be like.
Yeah.
Now, let me say, I was there, and I don't remember there being chicks. I mean, there was girls there as...
Really?
There was girls there as in like people's girlfriends girlfriends and girls hanging out. It wasn't like there was like naked women. It wasn't fucking like Eyes Wide Shut.
No, okay, well, it wasn't like that, but you know, it was good. It was a good time. You know, let's say that, folks. It was a good ass time.
Okay, got it.
And I ended up falling down the main lobby steps right at the feet of two cops. They were like, "You gotta go. Give us that beer."
So you actually tumbled down the stairs into and that's an old hotel. It's kind of like majestic, you know, and it's like an older thing,
colonial.
Like yeah. So you just tumbled down into like
it wasn't like a tumble
through the arches.
It wasn't like a tumbly like like a somersault or anything. It was more of when like your feet slide out from under you and you kind of do the 3 or 4 step like and you're trying to still look like you're standing up straight and you're all good. Right at two cops while I'm holding a brew, and they're just like, "Dude, who are you?"
Do you remember? I don't know why I just thought of this, but the show's almost over, and all we did was just say to each other, "Do you remember this? Do you remember this?" The whole show. So I'm just gonna end it with a "Do you remember?"
All right.
We went camping in Maryland, and you were hammered, probably blacked out. And we got shut down. We got the fucking the brass around there came around at like 11 o'clock.
Are you serious?
PM. You don't remember this? And they told us to shut it down.
I thought we never had a problem camping.
It was the one time, and this was the farthest that we went camping. We drove like all the way out in Maryland. Took us like 3 or 4 hours to drive there, right? And they shut us down. They literally we were in our 20s, and they were like, "Get in your tents and be quiet." And then when we started talking in our tents, like it would happen at a sleepover when you're 5, they came back around and they're like,
"Are you
we
serious?
told you to be quiet." Well, you were fucking hammered and weren't having any of it. And they had told us the whole time before that there was bears all over the place, right? So we're all in our tents being punished. We're with our respective partners and whatever, and we're just sitting there basically being punished. And we just hear you shuffling, so nobody can see you because we're all in the tents, and we just hear you shuffling. And at first, I hear you go. There was something going on outside of it or whatever, and I just hear you go, "Is that you?" Can't even do it. Yeah. And I was like, "What the fuck is he doing?" And I hear you go, "Is that the bear?" "I got the food." Like you're gonna like you're rendezvousing with a bear.
I was gonna feed it.
Like you had met the bear before all this and said, "Listen, when everyone goes to sleep later, I'm gonna meet you with the food." So I guess
are you there?
So
I got the food.
I guess you saying this sparked fear into one of the women that we were with, because somebody jumped out of their tent, and now I'm just hearing all this audibly. I'm not seeing it. And
I remember this though, but I don't remember anything happening.
So somebody jumps out. So one of the girls jump out of their tent and they go, "Richie, what are you doing?" And you're like, "Nah." And they go, "Richie, you got your shoes on backwards." And you go, "I'm ambidextrous."
What a maniac!
I miss your taste and your see-through.
Holy crap! Inside the mind.
Oh yeah, you're right. Hang on.
Inside the
A little taste to that.
of RTG.
Are you the bear?
Got the food.
Thank you for listening to the Awkward Hi-Fi podcast, or whatever the hell it was today. Yet another Friday show. Follow us on Twitter at AwkwardHI5.
And leave those reviews so we can fucking party.
I think we're at like almost 40 reviews, so we're
Really?
not. Yeah, so we're not close.
Creeping on 50 at least.
Not close. I want to do this party. Before I go to Iceland.
Just leave a review. Let's have a party.
So if you're listening, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like, why not just leave a review and you get to go to a kick-ass fucking party?
Well, because a lot of people probably listen from places not around here.
Oh, yeah.
But listen, if you listen to this podcast and you like it, we'd appreciate it if you go onto iTunes and leave a review. And we promise that once we do get to 100 reviews, whether that's tomorrow or 2026, we're throwing the 100 review party where Richie's going to swallow a goldfish and then probably, from what I'm hearing tonight, get kicked out and then come back in.
Yep.
So anyway, AwkwardHI5 on Twitter. Leave the review on iTunes, all that good stuff, and we will see you guys in a few short days.
Get more pain, less wanna smoke you up. Inhale my best and I'm out of love. With love, with breath, wanna smoke you up. Even though my chest hurts, smoke you up. Get more pain, less wanna smoke you up. Inhale my best and night of love. Surrounded by seeds, I'm lost in the trees.
Thanks for listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. For more episodes, visit awkwardhigh5.com.